Alrighty then, it's been a while and we finally got our man back. Arnie is back on the big screen after 10 years. So let's review The Last Stand. Good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Hypersonic 55 and welcome to another film review. Woo! And today we're going to be reviewing The Last Stand. Now, I've waited for this film for quite some time. I mean, I'm a big Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. I love all of his films, from Predator to the Terminator films, the first two. And I love his films. It's really awesome. So I've waited and waited for a while to go back and see him come back to the screen. I knew he would. I knew he'd come back. And he's back with The Last Stand. So yeah, I've waited a while. Anyway, let me just stop going on about how much I adore Arnie, and let's talk about the film, starting with the story. So the story of The Last Stand goes a little something like this. The leader of a drug cartel busts out of a courthouse and attempts to get to Mexico, driving down the highway in a very fast car, and eludes all of the law enforcement that try to get in his way. However, there's a group of people waiting for him before he gets to that point. Enter Summerton Junction in Arizona, where a sheriff and his group of inexperienced staff are waiting to try and take this guy out. And technically that is the story synopsis of the film without going into spoilers. The story in this film, for what it is pretty good. It's a bit by the books, it's a bit predictable and generic, but for the most part it's fine. It moves at a decent pace, it has some decent dialogue for the most part, it's a bit predictable and it's a bit light. Anybody expecting something a little deeper than what they're getting in the film needs to reassess what kind of genre of film they're looking for. It is an action film after all, and action films in this day and age are more about the spectacle than it is about the story. The story's good, just don't expect anything overly amazing. So let's talk about the characters of The Last Stand, which really are the best element of the film for me. So let's start with the man of the hour, Arnold Schwarzenegger as Sheriff Ray Owens. He was really nice in this movie. It was great to see him in this slightly older role where he can't move as much as he used to, and when compared to some of his other roles, say like in the Terminator films or say like in Predator, where he was more of an invincible character that could just do nothing wrong, he was just like invincible basically. It was great to see him a lot slower. It takes him a little while to move to places, and it shows that the guy is fatigued, but at the same time he can still move. He still knows how to take a hit. He still can move around. He could drive cars, shoot guns, and get into a good fisticuff with someone and still come out on top. He's like, yeah. It was great to see Schwarzenegger in this kind of role, and I hope that there will be other films like this where you get to see a slightly older version of the character, not able to move as much as he used to, and acknowledging the fact that he's slightly older but he still has a means of being able to get action stuff done. He was cool, his dialogue was great. I mean, there was certain stuff that he says in this Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of way where it's just like, you said a word like something, yeah, it sounds friggin' awesome. Arnie is one of those sort of guys that you can't really fault him for dialogue which is given to him, because he just says it in his own native way and it just works. So yeah, Arnie was cool in the movie. If you're an Arnie fan, you're gonna love him. If you're not an Arnie fan, then yeah, don't really know what to say to that. And then of course there was Johnny Knoxville in the film as Lewis. Now obviously in the trailer he happened to show up a lot, and you was thinking, well, I was definitely thinking he might be a little distracting, a bit overbearing, and maybe just a bit too much comedy relief for me, but luckily he was pretty good. He definitely added to the comic relief in this film. He had a lot of funny scenes, and the way he operated in this film was just really strange, but that's what added to his character. He was really funny, and yeah, he had some great exchanges with Arnie in this film. Johnny Knoxville, I rate him. And then there was Louie as Mike in the film. I thought he was great. He had some of my favorite lines in the entire film, and he was just really funny. The way he runs about and has these funny exchanges with the sheriff and some of the other characters, he was just great. He just had so many funny and strange scenes as well, and I thought his character was the best. He was just awesome. Louie Guzman, I just want to hug him. He deserves a hug, yo. He deserves a hug. Also, Jaimie Alexander, even in a film where it's all about guns and blowing stuff up and car chases, she still finds a way to look friggin' pretty as hell. She looked great in Thor and she looked great in this, and yeah, she happened to handle herself pretty well in some of these scenes with firefights, and she can shoot guys pretty well in this film, and there was plenty of action for her in this film. I was worried that her character wouldn't get as much screen time as some of the other characters in this film, but she got her screen time. It was awesome, and I was like, Yeah, and as a group, these guys work really well together. They have some great chemistry as partners and in a group, and the way in which they organize their sort of attack against the drug cartel before they try to, like, you know, bust their way through Somerton Junction, it was great. And I was just like, yeah, these guys are all cool. I just want to hang around with them. They were awesome. And the other characters in the film were good as well, but I just wanted to highlight the people I just said already as my favorite people from the film, the people that are probably the most memorable. And let's talk about the action of The Last Stand, which is pretty good, really. There is a lot of decent, like, you know, car chases and gunfights and explosions and a lot of violence, which I didn't expect, but it's always good. Violence for me is not a problem. I'm the guy that just likes that crazy kind of carnage, so it doesn't bother me in the slightest. I really like the firefights in this film. They were well organised, well placed, and it was shot pretty well. The camera angles used in the film was pretty good, and the car sequence where there are two people driving through a massive cornfield where you can't really see what's going ahead of them, it's sort of just like, oh damn, how are they going to find a way out of that one? But it was executed in a pretty decent way and I liked it. And just the way in which the characters of Somerton Junction, along with the sheriff, happened to go up against this massive group of gunmen from this drug cartel operation sort of thing, it was really well done. Even though it was a bit over the top and far-fetched in some scenes, it was done in a way where it was acceptable, where it works in that sort of realm of realism within the film. I thought that was executed pretty well. So in the end, The Last Stand is a pretty decent action film with some pretty cracking action sequences and some decent dialogue and some really good characters. For me, I'm going to rate this film a 7 out of 10. It's a good 7 out of 10 though. It was good to see Arnie back on the big screen, and hopefully this is the first of many things to come. Well, that's been my review, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me what you thought of the movie in the comment section below. Like, comment and subscribe and join the revolution that is the Hypersonic 55. And yeah, I guess I'll see you on the next film review. So until the next time, this is the Hypersonic 55 signing out, yo.